How you doing, everyone? Welcome back. You know, why, answer me this for you if you can. Why is it worse to call a fascist than it is for a fascist to be a fascist? Explain that to me. How is it not divisive to actually be a fascist, but it is divisive to correctly call someone out as a fascist? Oh, and by the way, if it's divisive to call someone a fascist, the fascist himself has referred to his opponents as fascists. There are multiple clips that you can find out there of Donald Trump referring to specifically Kamala Harris, but others as well, as radical left communist Marxist socialist fascists. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Does that add up? Hold on. Hold on a second. I need to do some math here. Yeah, those numbers don't quite add up to me. Those numbers don't add up. You cannot be a communist and a fascist. You cannot be both. One is extreme left, the other is extreme right. Fascism is a right-wing ideology. It is an extreme right-wing ideology. Communism, left-wing. And you want to use the argument that, well, Hitler, that Nazi stood for National Socialist Party or whatever. Well, sure. I mean, if you want to say that Hitler was a socialist despite not being a socialist, I mean, Hitler was also an honest guy, right? No. He lied to get into power. So, yeah, that was not a left-wing ideology. It was an extreme right-wing ideology. And you can go back and check out my video 14 characteristics. I go through the characteristics of fascism. And you go down the list and Donald Trump checks the boxes. And you know what? That's not me being divisive. That's me telling you the truth. Now, if it's divisive to tell the truth, then fine. I'll be divisive all day long. But if why is it okay for us to look at this guy and whatever he says, fine, you know what, whatever, that's just him. But Kamala Harris, she has to lay out detailed, point by point by point by point, every policy proposal, whereas Trump just throws out these grand ideas that don't even make sense. Deport everyone, 200% tariffs. Yeah. That's really the only policy proposals he's got, other than, well, I'm going to use the military to go after the radical left, enemies within. And then they want to say, well, no, he didn't say that. Well, yes, he did. Yes, he did. That blows my mind. For a guy who says what he means and means what he says, there's an awful lot of, well, what he meant was, well, if you have to clarify what he meant, then he doesn't say what he means, does he? And how is it that you know exactly what he meant, but if I talk to this person over here who also supports him, they're going to give me a different definition of what he meant? And that's something else that gets me. Don't look at what he says, look at what he means. How do I know what he means if I don't know what he said? You gotta look at what he says. Also, the guy says he wants to be a dictator on day one. And his supporters are like, no, he doesn't want to be a dictator. He said it. Or, he wants to do this, 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 and this. Well, no, he's not going to do any of that. Oh. So, you're saying either that he is lying to you and you're voting for him anyway, knowing that he's lying to you about, he says he's going to do this, but you know that he's not going to do that, and that's why you're going to vote for him. Why would you vote for somebody that you know is lying to you if you believe wholeheartedly that he's not actually going to do any of that? If that's what you want, I mean, that's just it though. You don't want what he says he wants to do. You don't want that. And you know it. You've just been led to believe that, you know what, those people over there are just so insane. You've been led to believe by, and let me clarify this, because I don't mean to suggest that anyone here is ignorant or stupid or anything like that. Some are, of course, but that's not what I'm trying to imply here, right? If you listen to right-wing media, right? Fox News, Newsmax, talk radio, right-wing talk radio. Is that even still a thing other than Hannity? I don't know. Is OAN still a thing? Right Side Broadcast, whatever, and any of that stuff, right? If you listen to them, anybody who is not lockstep with them is an enemy of this country. You're not allowed to disagree with them at all. Not allowed. Why is that? Why is that? I mean, you're allowed to just outright hate everybody over there that doesn't fully agree with you. But they're not allowed to just simply disagree with you. Y'all make no sense to me. And by y'all, I don't mean, y'all. I mean those specific individuals who rely on right-wing media for all of their information. I mean, if that's all you listen to is right-wing media, you're going to be led to believe that anyone who doesn't think exactly like you is trying to destroy this country. Meanwhile, you're supporting someone who actually is trying to destroy this country, but you're being told that, no, he's not. Step out of your right-wing media bubble. Listen to other perspectives, other people. Get out there and talk to actual, real people who might think differently than you do. Instead of just isolating yourself. I mean, if you're on Facebook, right? If you haven't already blocked everyone who disagrees with you because you can't handle it, or if you haven't alienated them to the point where they've blocked you, actually talk to somebody. Might be a little bit funny that you see me wearing a whole lot of rock bands t-shirts to actually bring this up, but if you're familiar with Chris Ledoux at all, country singer, former rodeo cowboy, He's got a song called This Cowboy's Hat, and I might not have the words exactly right, but there's a spoken intro to that song, something to the effect of, there's always been groups of people that never could see eye to eye, but I've always thought if they ever had a chance to sit down and talk face to face, they might realize they have a lot in common. But you don't want to do that, do you? You don't want to talk to people that you don't necessarily always agree with. Why is that? Why are you afraid of other perspectives? Why? Think about that. And while you're thinking about it, I'll see you next time.